What's up guys, welcome to your 47th Java tutorial, and in this tutorial I'm going to be finishing up talking about static members, and also I'm going to be showing you a nice little trick that you can use when accessing static members. So go ahead and in your tune class, or not the class with not your main method in it, class without your main method in it, there we go. And let's go ahead and under this constructor, let's go ahead and build three other simple little methods. We're just going to have one to return the first name, return the last name, and return the member. So public string, and let's just name it like get first. It's not going to take any parameters, and we're just going to have it return first. Simple enough. And now let's go ahead and make one for last name. Public string get last. And guess where we're going to have this one to? Return last. Oh, you guessed that? Oh, not bad. And now let's have one more, and we'll name it let's see, public static. Remember, this method needs to be static. Static int get members. I know I could figure out how to spell members. Get members. And then what are we gonna have this one do? Let's just have return members. So now we have three variables up here: a private first, a private last, and a private members, which is static. This method returns first name, this method returns the last name, and this method right here, it's going to return the variable members. So now that we have three objects made, go back in your main apples class or whatever you call it. Let's go ahead and let me show you how each member has its own set of data. So let's just go ahead and for housekeeping's sake, put system out print line, and let's just go ahead and print an empty line right there because it'll just be easier. Now let's just go ahead and copy that because we're going to be using it. Oh, I didn't know we could do that, did we? And let's just go ahead and put, what do we want to print on our first line? And it's really our first line because this one's just an empty line. Well, what I want to show you that is, even though they all share that variable called members, they each have their own set of data. So let's go ahead and put member1, which is our object 1, which was Megan Fox, and we'll put get first, and then let's do this with last. Copy get last, and what was the last one called? Get members. So get members. So here's what's going on now. Let me make sure it's going to print out. Yep. So anytime you call this one, it's going to have Megan Fox, and this is unique to its own object. But it's going to look at get members and see that it's static. So it's going to share this variable with all the other ones. So depending on how many members are in this, then that's what it's going to print. So let me go ahead and run this. Click OK, and we have, again, we have our other data up there if you're wondering where it went, but it says Megan, which is unique, Fox, which is unique, and 3, which is shared among all objects. So now let's go ahead and change that to 2. Member 2, member 2, member 2. Now let's go ahead and run this, and now you can clearly see Natalie, which is unique, Portman, which is unique, and 3, again, that 3. And that 3 is because this private static int. Static means, alright, this variable is shared between all objects. So we don't need to, why would you make a separate variable if it, like, let me think how to put this. Why would you make a separate variable that is going to be unique, that we're going to have to update in every object, if it's the same value no matter what object it is? So, I mean, you don't need to. So we're not gonna. So that's where static comes in handy. And now let me show you that trick I was talking about. Since the static variables don't change between objects, static information is available even when you don't have an object. So for example, say forget about all these objects right here, and we actually can't just delete them, but we'll delete these right here. And we can just add it in this print line, really. Instead of calling a separate object, like an object and then your dot separator and then your method, like that, what you can do with stack is just put the name of the class and put your dot separator and then put your method. Get members, like that. Now let me run this and you can see the 3 right here. Can you guys see that? The 3 right there. So before, we were never able to do this. We had to get an object and build an object anytime we wanted access to any of these members or any of these methods right here. But with a static, it's a little bit different because it's not going to change from object to object, since no matter how many objects you have, the variable is the same. So that's why Java lets you, instead of having to have an object, which you can do by the way, what we just did, you can also just put the class name and put the static method ahead of that. So again, anytime you have a static method that uses static variables, you don't have to have a separate object. You can just put the class name and then you can just put the method. And that's how, like in stuff like math functions and math constants, that's how they do that. So that's just a nice little tidbit of information. So don't forget that static variables are shared among all objects, and that you don't have to access static methods with a specific object. You can just do it with a whole class, since it's the same. So thank you guys for watching. I think I confused you enough for today, but like I said, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next tutorial.